We are live. Welcome in. Another post-game show. Duke wins this one 93-56 over Howard. It was a great performance by the Blue Devils for 32 minutes. A great game by Cameron Boozer. A really impressive performance by Patrick Gongba. The Bigs were awesome in a game. They certainly had a mismatch and they took advantage of it. And I felt like for the first 32 minutes, the defense was excellent again. And in part, the last 8 minutes when this game, once they got up by 50, the offense really hurt the defense. A lot of turnovers led to easy points by Howard. But what do you think of the game?
I think in a game that you win by 37 points, we have a lot to talk about here, and I suspect that the last 8 minutes of the game is not going to make Coach Shire happy. And we got outscored 17-4 in the last two segments of the game, and that is not what you're looking. I know we won by 37. We scored 93 points. We held them well below, 60, almost 50 points. That's not the point, honestly. It is the individual performances, and we'll get there.
We will. But in a game we won by 37 points, I'm going to start with the positives, which is Cam Boozer. There's a few things I came into this game looking to see from an improvement standpoint from individual players from the preview. And one of them was Cam Boozer's finishing inside. And I know people are going to say this was a small Howard team, and that's correct, and the level of competition, and that's correct. But it's important for Cam to get that confidence going, and he was awesome finishing inside. He only missed one 2-pointer in this game. We'll get to the stats later, but he was more than aggressive. He was patient inside. He was using his footwork, pump fakes, waiting to get to a point where he could go up and score efficiently. And so I really liked that from Mr. Boozer. Now, one thing I do need to check the stats for quickly to make sure I have this correct is another thing I was looking for, and I thought so, was Patrick Gongba to have less fouls, and he did. He only had a couple of fouls in this game, so I feel like the two bigs, yes, they certainly had a size advantage, but they played really well.
Everything that you could want out of them, the alley oops to Gangba, the flow from Boozer and Gangba. Admittedly, the size difference certainly helped, but you saw what you wanted to, and they're going to get high grades from me for the performance that they put in today.
And I want to add specifically on Cam, his outlet passing as usual, phenomenal. He had a couple of like 2/3 of the court passes that were really good, and then he was reading the passing lanes. A couple of steals in this game, so those are things that are not necessarily that aren't are just not based off of his size advantage. Those are things that he could take into other games. So I
Good
like
point.
that. And then just to wrap up the bigs because the final 8 minutes we didn't have any bigs out there, and I think that was a little bit of what was going on. And to be clear, we're gonna get to it. It's really not the last 4 minutes. It's the 8 minute to the 4 minute mark. That was the most troubling of this game. But Malik Brown, I wanted to see him be more aggressive, going to the rim, looking for easy twos, and he was that. Caden again found him for another oop. He got an easy dunk. He had a nice reverse finish with his offhand. So the defense, yeah, he picked up a few fouls. That's Malik Brown. He's going to pick up a few fouls because he is going to gamble, but they are smart gambles, and he's a guy you're going to want to encourage to continue to do that. And so the three bigs were really great in this game. Now, I want to go to the guards, the point guards. Caleb Foster, Caden Boozer, again, really good performances from both of those guys. Foster had a really great first half. And Caden, although I mean, I would say he didn't shoot the ball well, but that's not fair because he really didn't shoot the ball like at all. Because he was doing his thing, making plays for his teammates. He had 5 assists in this game, maybe 6. He may have finished with. I think he tacked on one at the end to Cam Sheffield. So we'll get to the stats in just a moment. But both of those guys, they have played really well, and I'm starting to wonder if we're going to see more of them playing, a little bit more together moving forward.
I thought spot on analysis. They could have had a letdown at the guard position. You could certainly have the other team aggressively try to cause turnovers to do something. I think when we go to the stats, we'll find out that both of them had another good combined performance.
All right. We got to talk about those wings now. We'll start with the good, and then we'll move down the list. So Isaiah Evans, I thought did just fine. He knocked down some threes. He had another nice alley-oop pass to Patrick.
Great dunk.
Great dunk. Yes, I agree. Aggressive, getting to the rim. Just another well-rounded performance from Isaiah Evans, which is starting to be a theme for him. It's not just the three-point shooting with this guy. It's the defense. It's the ability to attack the rim. As you just mentioned, in the passing, it's a complete package from Evans. Darren Harris.
Okay.
Yeah, he started off strong. He had a couple of nice drives, a tough lefty layup. He had that play where he picked up the ball off of a Boozer steal and then almost had a dunk. And then I believe that's where he missed both free throws, which I think is a good segue.
We're gonna get to our team free throw shooting. I'm just. I'm gonna walk out. I'm gonna walk out because this is embarrassing. It's just embarrassing because in a game in which you're just supposed to be. What can you get out of a game when you're going to win by 40 or 50 points? Certainly, your free throw shooting shouldn't decline in a game like this. And I'm always looking for that 80% mark, and it was horrendous, just horrendous. I'm just not happy about it.
All right, did you get out of your system?
No, I have more to say.
All right. We'll get there in a minute. Save it. I want to just finish on the wings, and we'll go to the stats. So
these were not chicken wings tonight.
Hymenia and Sar, especially in that segment, which is a good segue to talk about. They left a lot to be desired in this game. Sar,
especially in that the first of the two segments with the 8-minute mark, to go. It was we lost that the fourth segment 10-0, and a lot of that was Sar with Sar turnover, Sar foul. He is going to be taken to the woodshed by Coach Shire for that performance there.
Yeah, and he is he is raw offensively. His value to this team is with his defense, and I was hoping like a game like this would help him build some confidence on the offensive side of the court, and if anything, it did the opposite, which is concerning because there's one more opportunity in a game like this the rest of the year, so there's not as many opportunities for him. And then Hymenia, I thought he started off strong, and then he's just started to rack up turnovers.
What was the combined turnovers?
Well, we'll get to the stats in just a minute. He had a number of turnovers. I just thought he's a good passer, and tonight he was just a bit off. Like he was still trying to do his no-look passing. That didn't work out on at least one or maybe two passes. The both of them, just especially in that stretch, just didn't give Duke. It really didn't matter for this particular game, but if I'm Shire and I'm trying to evaluate them moving forward and say like who do I want playing like late in games. Like this was an opportunity for Hymenia to say, well, if Sar's not going to give us what we want offensively and we need some spark, he should play more. But I came away from this game thinking in closer games, there's an opportunity for more double point guard lineups with Evans because of the play of Hymenia and Sar. Now we'll see how they look in the Arkansas game. That's going to be a major test and a major step up in competition. But tonight was frankly a step back for those two guys.
If you're going to be playing with a 9-man rotation and you're looking at what they did in the last two segments, and Hymenia actually, it showed up even more when the big guys were out. They had a chance to actually say, this is the kind of play that we can offer the Duke team. I think we really, they may have hurt themselves in do I go with a 9-man rotation or do I go with a 7-man rotation? Oh. And I know this game didn't count as much, Jack, because it was, like a cupcake game, but they didn't help themselves.
I'm not there on a 7-man rotation, but what I will say is that I think both of them in a very competitive rotation lost minutes in this game in potentially moving forward. Now I think it's matchup dependent because certainly Sar's defense gets him on the court, and it will depend on how the team is performing offensively around him. But I was hoping to get more from Dame Sar in this game. Now let's check out the stats. So mentioned Cam Boozer, just a ridiculous performance from him. 26 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. And Mr. Gangba, 16 points, 5 rebounds, a couple assists, and 2 blocks for him. And Isaiah Evans, 11 points, 4 rebounds, and a pair of assists. Also a block for Isaiah. Now, Caden Boozer at 4 points and 6 assists. He did get that 6th one and a steal. He took 2 shots. He didn't make any of them, but he was 4 for 6 from the free throw line. And Foster, 6 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist and a steal. I actually think he played better than what the box score indicates there. Because if you just look at the box score, you might think Dame Sar played better, even though he had more turnovers. 6 points. He did rebound the ball well in this game, did Sar. 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers for Sar, and 5 turnovers, 4 assists, though, and 3 rebounds, 7 points for Hymenia. And last two guys, Malik Brown, 6 points, a couple of rebounds, and a steal. And Harris, 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 steals for Mr. Darren Harris. And then I should say, finally, Cameron Sheffield did hit a 3. So good for Mr. Sheffield. But I will lead you into this. 14 of 22 from the free throw line. Just well below average, and not necessarily the biggest culprit tonight was Darren Harris, 1 for 4. He missed the 2. He could have had a double-digit scoring performance in this one.
14 to 22 in a game in which you're just going there and have a chance. There's no pressure at all. And 64% just is not what I expect at all. Now, one other thing about Cam Boozer was that he scored his 26 points in 26 minutes. I mean, I know there was no competition out there, but pure efficiency, it was just a great performance with 12 rebounds as well. And when you look at the minutes, it had been that the 9 players, I mean, Darren Harris had he had 19 minutes. Caden had 24 minutes. Hymenia had 20 minutes. Caleb had 22. Isaiah 23. Dame 23. Gangba 17. Cam 26. And the only one that really who played well tonight that didn't get, let's say, 20 minutes out of the nine, because I think Coach Shire has been really trying to give them close to 20 minutes, was Malik Brown, who had only 13 minutes and looked really good out there.
Well, two reasons for that. Number one, he had 2 fouls in the first half, so he had to go to the bench. And number two, they didn't play any of the bigs, or I should say either Gangba or Brown the final 10 minutes, and none of the three of them in the final 7. So that had a lot to do with him only being at 13 instead of where he typically has been closer to 17. I think that had a lot to do with it. And then
I think also avoiding injury for him. If they don't have to play him, they're not going to play him.
Well, yeah, and I think that's exactly why we finished the game without any of the bigs out there, because there's no reason for Gangba or Brown, who both have injury histories, to be out there in this game. And then Cam Boozer, there was just no need for him to continue playing in this one. And then we had a tough segment, those 4 minutes, the 8 to 4 minute mark. I will say that it's probably the first time that they've played without a big, so that was I'm trying to give them a little bit of grace there. And then additionally on the free throw shooting, I know you say there's no pressure, and I completely agree. And I wonder if that's why they shot so poorly, because there was no pressure, and that there wasn't that game. Sometimes you need that, and there was no there's no risk, basically. If they missed all their free throws, they still win by 20 plus points.
I think if I remember correctly, we had 79% from the free throw line last game.
Yep.
And so it's in a similar game where we had a huge margin of victory, we shot far better. I'm not going to agree with you here that this game was a little bit of a letdown. We still need you have to hit your free throws. And just to round off, I love to talk about the last three. And if he had he lost the ball twice, not his best performance on the court. Sheffield went 1 for 3, where he did hit the three that Jack referred to. And overall, nice effort with 13 seconds. Or he dove for the ball in the court. And Scott continues to impress. What a nice deflection. And so, I like to see that the three of them have an opportunity and make the most of it.
Yeah. And all right. So we'll go to the medals, and then we'll head over to the chat. We've got a few guys in there waiting. Thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, we're on the road to 2100 here. Drop your comments in the chat. We'll get to everybody, and please like this video. So medals for tonight, as opposed to last game, really easy. Cameron Boozer, gold medal. Patrick Gangba, silver medal. And Isaiah Evans, bronze medal for me. You could make an argument, I think, Caden Boozer. He had 6 assists. Who else would you have? Somebody else? You had a facial expression there.
I actually, he didn't play enough, but I liked Malik's minutes and may have given him a little love there in the bronze, but it's hard to say in a game like this.
That's fair. That's fair. I wouldn't be opposed to Malik. I felt like he only played 13 minutes. He did have 7 points, but I didn't feel like he was his usual game-wrecking self defensively. And we also didn't really need it, particularly in this game. But I am sure the Arkansas game, we will need it, and he will provide it. So let's head over to the chat. Laura Markle, happy Feast Week. Happy Feast Week to you. We got a lot of good games coming up starting tomorrow that are going to be exciting. I'm really excited for the game before the Duke game on Thanksgiving, 4:30, Michigan State versus North Carolina. 2 teams that Duke is going to play this season, so I've got that one circled on my calendar. Lawrence Freeman. Most of the bad performance in the last 8 minutes was on the coach. He had a lineup out there that had Nick at 5, and Sar at 4, which at best was a failed experiment. I'm starting to worry that the end of close games, teams are just going to foul us and put us on the line.
Good point.
A couple of good points there, and so yeah, I mentioned I'm with you, Lawrence, in the fact that I was thinking similarly that they hadn't played too much without a center out there. Um, and I and on your second point in terms of foul us, I'm wondering if we're gonna have to close games without Dame Sar for now, and potentially Foster, although he did hit both of his in this one. Which I have that right? I think I have that right. Yeah, he was 2 for 2, which is important for Foster. But the way Dame Sar's been shooting his free throws, I could see us bringing in Caden Boozer, for example, to close games if we have the lead because of that exact reason. Anything?
Uh, no, I like. Look, even without a big guy in there, and you would say positioning wise, we really didn't have a true, center, not a true four. The turnovers occurred though in they didn't occur down low. We just had trouble even getting the ball up, and I think it just wasn't. They could have had a better flow to the game, even though they didn't have a big in there. That's just.
No, I agree. I think they I like I'm with Lawrence on the point that they didn't have a big, and that was part of it. But I still think they had enough guys out there, especially with Hamenia and Caden Boozer out there, who can make plays and pass the ball and get guys involved. And I feel like I think you used the term letdown in a different way. I feel like that was playing down to the competition, which we really hadn't seen very much of this season. So that's something that and I don't know if you guys caught Shire at the end of the game, but he looked angry.
He did not look happy.
Yeah, he looked very upset. So I think they are going to have strangely, after a 37-point win and a 58-point win, a couple of rough days at practice for certainly a couple of these guys.
Well, Jack, one of the things about the differential in points and why this game could be troubling to Coach Shire is that how many points did we get from Cam and from Gangba combined?
26 from Cam and 16, so 42.
So 42 from the bigs, where they really didn't have much opposition. Starts to look like it wasn't that great a win in terms of the Duke game at home against a team that they should have shown a much better performance, because the guys that scored 42 points of the 90 something, you take that away and it's 50 something points. And I would have liked more efficiency from other than the bigs, because it was too easy for the bigs to score today.
I can't get there. I can't get there with you, because when you think about it, it was 89-39 with 8 minutes to go. If we would have left those guys in, it would have been well over 100. And I understand your point in terms of the fact that this was a mismatch in terms of opponent, but there are going to be other opponents where we do have a mismatch. Even it's not going to be the same degree, but even in the conference games in the ACC. And I think what this Duke team has shown early on this season is that, yes, Cam Boozer, there's a little bit of a pecking order, but it's really what is best for the team. And that's who's going to get the most shots, score the most points, etc. And so in this game, it was better for Gangba and Boozer because they had mismatches. But it doesn't mean in the next game with Arkansas that we're going to play the same way. I just think they do a good job as a collective moving the ball. And I get your frustration over that 4-minute segment, but I think
Really, 8 minutes.
Well, I'm not including the last four because we had the three guys out there who are not part of the regular rotation.
Okay.
And so it's really that 4 minutes where we did not play well, where we had five regulars out there. And so for me, I'm not going to outweigh the negatives from those 4 minutes over the positives from the 32 minutes prior to that. But at the same time, I can acknowledge that that does give me a little bit of concern moving forward. All right. Let's see. ACBC, 3-point shooting wasn't great today. Now we have a tough stretch coming up: Arkansas, Florida, Michigan State. If we go 2-1, I'll be pretty happy. Gosh, what's happening with Darren's 3-point shooting? Isaiah didn't shoot well today too. Those two are supposed to be our two best shooters. I'll let you pick out one or two, and then I'll go.
I would be very happy going 2-1 in that stretch. We're not going to go undefeated for the year. We're going to lose some games. So 2-1 over that stretch would be terrific, as long as we keep learning from the games. And so I certainly want to see, in what would be considered March Madness matchups, I'd love to see us perform, better. And the 3-point shooting, I don't really have a problem with Isaiah. I think Isaiah hit a nice one. Darren hit a nice one. But overall, I understand your point that they didn't hit threes. As a team, they shot 28%, and so that is not good. So I think you're spot on raising it, but I'm not worried yet about Darren, and certainly not worried about Isaiah.
I'm 100% not worried about Isaiah Evans. Isaiah Evans has kind of been doing this throughout the season. I would be more concerned if he doesn't shoot the ball well in the Arkansas game. But this season, even going back to last season, he shot the ball better in big games. So I am not worried about him at all. Harris, yes, but at the same time, he's building his rhythm. He's building his rhythm. And we gotta be a little bit patient with him. This last year he wasn't really part of the rotation. This year he is. I think he's going to figure it out. They are our two best shooters, and I'm not going to be too worked up over one game.
Well, he had a terrific drive to the basket, Harris, and the same thing with Evans was that if you're going to have a reputation as a 3-point shooter and guards are going to come out to defend you, then you also have to show that you have the willingness and the ability to go to the basket and finish.
Yep. All right, Tom Hanna. Welcome, Tom. 2-1 would be ideal. Great, tough schedule ahead to prepare for the long season. And yes, and then additionally, there's a Lipscomb game and then Texas Tech in between. So those 4 games, if we can go 2-2, just fine. If we do better than that, I'm going to feel like this is a Final Four team. Laura Markle, I am not worried about having different lineups in games like today. Shire will not do that in the next 3 games. Very good point. I agree. This is a game 2 experiment. And so that's part of the reason I'm not too worked up over that 4-minute stretch. But I do want the guys to play better and kind of gradually get better. But at the same time, improvement is not linear. And so hopefully for both, in this game particularly, Sar and Hemenia can take what happened in the course of the game and improve. But with Sar, I'm a little bit concerned because these are things that have been kind of going on for 7 games now. Hemenia, it was more of a bad game. But for Sar, the decision-making on drives, the turnovers, the finishing, that's been going on for a little bit, and I'd like to see that improve. And it hasn't happened yet. The Army game was a positive step. Hasn't happened yet.
He did have a good drive. He had one early on.
He did. Laura, Caleb, and Isaiah both were 100% from the free throw line. First time Caleb was 100% at the free throw line. Yeah. Listen, You were on it early, Laura. Caleb has been really solid this season. Really solid from him. So
Changed my view of how to look at him.
yeah, yeah, he's been good. I like that Harris and Isaiah did drive more this game than they have been. Yep, utilizing their 3 point gravity to get to the rim. And then if there's no things to work on that would not be a good thing this season, it gives them something to work on and improve on each game. Yeah,
That's why we play these games. We, to try to see what the weaknesses are, and an opportunity to experiment with different lineups, give players more playing time. But you're 100% right.
let me ask you this. Would you rather this game where there's clearly things that need to be improved upon, or the Niagara game where it was less obvious what things need to be improved upon from that game?
Um, More complete performance in the Niagara game. Here, there's definitely things that need to be worked on, and it's good that they're exposed. It's good that you had a strange lineup out there with no bigs against a team that really didn't have any bigs. So you're playing, gym ball 5-on-5, and you would hope that the Duke five is going to outplay the Howard five on this, and so that's why I guess I'm a little disappointed there about the performance, but it was especially Dame's performance.
Yeah, I think so. I think because of the expectations with Dame Sar, hoping to see more from him, and offensively it hasn't been there yet. And I think I'm with you. That's even in a game we won by 37. It's not the team. It's that I'm hoping Dame could be a real big part, a big piece moving forward. And offensively, there have been flashes. Don't get me wrong, but we haven't seen the consistency from him to pair with his defense, which would give me a lot of promise with this Duke team to be a Final Four contender, especially with the slate of games we've got coming up. Arkansas is very good, and they're going to be motivated. Florida is enormous. I'm skeptical about their guards, but I'm sure they'll play better in Cameron. That's just how that tends to work. And then Michigan State, I think of the four upcoming games, is the hardest game that Duke has on the road at Michigan State. They've got bigs, they've got guards. All of a sudden, they shoot the three. Yeah, it's going to be a big challenge for the Blue Devils. So I'm excited to preview. We'll preview the Arkansas game Tuesday, and then we'll see you guys Thanksgiving evening after that one's over around 10 o'clock Eastern time or so. So
I hope everyone enjoys Thanksgiving, and then we have a nice thing to smile about when we watch Duke win over Arkansas.
all right, guys. Until next time, peace.